It is Monday, February the 23rd of 2026, and you have entered the court gallery. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the court gallery. I am your lone wolf Uso, and tonight I have a presentation for you full of narcissists getting told off in court. We're going to start off with Judge Simpson, who has a full bench trial. It's a domestic violence related ordeal, and it's really interesting. And then we have a full set of civil protection orders from Planet Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, Thurston was a good one today, and it all starts right now.
Court does call the case of the people versus John, is it Versavi?
Haley's on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Dan Garrett, I believe it pronounces it Resavi. Is that correct, John? Resavi, Your Honor.
Resavi, got it.
Yeah, Resavi.
All right. Meeting time set for trial, are we ready to proceed?
People are ready to proceed, Your Honor. I did want to put on the record that there was a police offer to be discharged with sentencing under 7694, and it's my understanding the defendant is rejecting the offer.
So acknowledged she is, Your Honor, and we are ready to proceed as well. Thank you.
All right, very good. Opening statements, or are you waiting?
I'll do it short, Your Honor.
Pardon?
I'll keep it short, Your Honor.
All right, very good.
Your Honor, today we're here, it's been a trial. Today, the court will hear testimony from D'Angelina Terrell, who the court will hear was in a relationship with Mr. Savvy. They have two children in common. The court's going to hear from Mr. The events that occurred on September 24, to include an incident with Mr. Savvy where she was pushed after trying to put their children to bed. And I believe at the end of this testimony, the court will see her testimony, see her demeanor, and find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
All right, very good. Mr. Scammon, would you like to give an opening statement, reserve, or waive?
I'd like to give one, Your Honor, very quickly. Your Honor, this case, as you heard counsel say, goes all the way back to September of 2024. At that time, my client, Mr. Resavi, was and is a veterinarian, a National Guard veteran. He was living in Pittsfield Township, sharing custody with the complainant, Ms. Terrell, of two children that he thought he was the father of, and later learned that she had lied to him, was not the father at all, which I think will reflect on her credibility, which is clearly going to be an issue in this case. But nonetheless, they shared custody at that time, 50-50. He had the kids, and he invited Ms. Terrell over. You're going to find that their relationship was toxic, probably at best, but they still did sometimes hang out, and that night they were planning on hanging out a little bit, so we invited them over. The kids would not go to bed, being rambunctious because mom and dad were together. It was getting late, so John told her, "You got to go." Over the course of about 45 minutes, he kept saying, "It's time for you to go," for lack of a better legal word, revoking her ability to be in his apartment. She told the police she protested. She didn't want to leave. She wanted to hang out with the kids, and that caused some friction. As for what allegedly happened, Your Honor, my client will tell you that as he's standing in the doorway saying, "I'm going to get your purse, it's time to go," she loses her cool, smashes by him, pushes him up against the wall where he smashes his head and shoulder against the wall, leaving a divot in the wall and redness on his head. She runs, grabs the phone, and calls police. Now, what she tells police, Your Honor, is that he pushes her and that he smashes his own head against the wall, which I think the physical evidence, my client's testimony, and he will testify in this case, will definitely belie that. I'm hopeful at the end of this case, you'll find that this was toxic and this was immature, but this was not criminal, especially at Mr. Resavi's hands.
Okay. You may call your first witness.
Thank you. People call D'Angelina Terrell.
Take a seat, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
See. State spell your first and last name correct, please.
Angelina Brandon, BEANGELENA, BRENNAN, but my former last name is TERR.
Go ahead, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you go by Lena.
Yes,
Lena, do you know a John Rasavi?
I do.
How do you know him?
Tinder when we were both living in Manhattan, Kansas.
Did you have a relationship?
Yes, it was one of friends with benefits. And I got married to like a romantic relationship.
So you had a kid together? Okay. If you saw John today, would you recognize him? Is he in the courtroom right now? Can you identify something he's wearing and where he's sitting? And where's he sitting?
On the left side, the courtroom to the farthest left.
Okay. Your Honor, please let the record reflect that this witness has made an inquiry identification of the defendant.
Record shall so reflect.
So I'm going to direct your attention now to September 24th of 2024. On that date, were you at 3341 Primrose Lane? And is that in Pittsfield Township,
Yes,
County of Washtenaw,
yes.
State of Michigan? And on that date at that location, did Mr. Rice have you do anything to you that made you call the police?
Yes, so, he had asked me to leave after, putting against the bed, and I was trying to do so, but I didn't grab my purse. And as I was walking to grab my purse, he had cut me off and started pushing me more towards the stairs. And, it was like, I don't know how long it happened. I just knew that I started hearing the kids cry. And I told John, I was like, hey, the kids are watching their phone. He kind of sounded all this. And then the walls were up.
Okay, so let's kind of start back at the beginning. Whose residence is that?
It's John's residence.
Okay, and how did you end up being at that residence on that day?
On that day, I went to class and we were in the middle of a quiz, so they said, they had worked John on that. And he had asked me to pick up a target order that he had placed that was ready. And I told him I would do that. And he spoke on the phone. I asked him if the kids would probably like to know, because I didn't want to go inside. Because I knew that my presence would like rile them up. And I didn't want to stir them up right before bed. He told me they were sleeping. I had a clicker to his garage because it was kind of like a townhouse condo situation. So I opened the clicker, and before I could even open the door, our eldest son, Alexander, opened the door. And I told John, because he was standing there, I was like, don't worry about it, I'll just put him to bed for you. And then we could like kind of talk later, because the whole point of me being there was to talk. I forgot that part, but we were just gonna hang out and talk.
So then, sorry to cut you off. So you got it there. Kids are awake. You go in the house and you're going to put them to sleep.
Yes, I told him well, at the time I thought it was just one son, but then I saw the other son was awake too. So I said I was going to sleep. And we could talk right there. In the middle of putting Arthur to sleep, Alex had fell asleep. And John had came in, and he was just saying, like, they don't do this while you're here. It doesn't go like this. They're only doing this because you're here. And I told him it was fine because Alex had just fell asleep and Arthur was on his way to sleep. Like, just give me like 30 minutes and Arthur should be asleep. And the second time he came into the kid's room, that's when he asked me to leave. But at that time, Arthur was like 2 seconds away from actually like being into deep sleep, and I asked him if I could stay just a little bit, just so he could fall asleep, and then I'll leave. And he was like, no, you need to leave now. And I was like, okay, fine. And the way he was standing from the room entrance. And so I was going that way, and he was like, no, you need to leave to the bathroom. But the way that their door is set up is like, when the room entrance door is open, it blocks the bathroom doors entrance. So I moved the door,
The hallway door.
the entrance to the room door to get into the bathroom, because the bathroom cuts out into like the little hallway that his house has. And so when I did that, he was like, bitch, did you just try to close the door on me? And I was like, no, I'm just trying to leave. And then he cut me off as I was trying to get to the kitchen to grab my purse and stuff. And that's when he started pushing me. And I kind of started pushing him off of me and asking him to let go of me. And he wasn't trying to let go. He was like, no, you need to leave, you need to leave, you need to leave. I was like, I'm just trying to leave. I was like, I'm just trying to grab my purse. And that, I don't know how long that went on. I would maybe say like 2 to 3 minutes of him trying to push me and me trying to like get him off me, because the way that his house is laid out, there's like a small, short set of stairs and then a very long set of stairs, and tile at the bottom of those long set of stairs. And in that moment, I was scared that he was trying to push me down the stairs, because that's how badly he wanted me to leave. And like I said earlier, the only reason why he like kind of let go of me is because I said, hey, John, the kids are watching, they're crying. And they were, and they were really scared, and I called the police. And as I told John I was calling the police, that's when he decided to hit his head against the wall and said that I hit him. I was nowhere near him at that time. I was like as far away as I could be trying to call the cops.
So how did this whole incident make you feel?
It made me feel scared because like John and I have gotten into fights before. But like I never felt like my life was in danger. I think I was the only time I was like, wow, this man's really trying to hurt me. And I couldn't even tell you like what I did wrong to even make him want to like try to.
Your Honor, may I have one moment? And I know you mentioned your 2 sons. Are those 2 sons you share with Mr. Rye-Savvy?
Yes.
So he is their parent?
Yes.
Okay.
Alexander isn't his biological son. That's something we found out later down the road. But not at the time of the we found out, well, John did a DNA test on Alexander, like a month or 2 after the incident happened. And found out that he wasn't his biological son.
Okay. And that's the older one,
Yeah, that's Alexander.
and the younger one,
He's Arthur.
and was the same testing done?
I just only know the one for Alex and not Arthur.
All right.
I have one more moment, Your Honor. Nothing further to this witness, Your Honor.
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brennan, good morning. Let's start with the location at Primrose Lane. That was Mr. Recevi's house, yes?
Yes.
You were not on the deed, you were not on the lease, you were not on any sort of documentation, correct? You had your own house or location elsewhere, yes?
Yes.
So I think you told the judge and the prosecutor, he told you to leave several times, yes?
He only asked me to leave once. And then when I was trying to grab my purse, because it was in the kitchen area, that's when he was like, no, you need to leave, but I can't leave without my keys or my wallet.
If I heard you correctly earlier, I think when the prosecutor was asking questions, you said, and I quote, "Give me 30 minutes." Is that correct?
Yes, for the kids, because he didn't ask me to leave at that time when he came in the first time. He was just getting agitated, saying that they don't do this while I was here, like me.
So if you're asking to give me 30 minutes, what are you asking him to do? What?
I said, give me 30 minutes so I could finish putting our youngest son Arthur to bed. Because the whole point of me being there was to talk and hang out.
Okay, so give me 30 minutes is in response to him telling you it's time to go.
Didn't ask me to.
You use the word with the police, who I think Officer Branch is here over my shoulders, that you protested. I think that was your word on the video, correct?
I didn't protest, I just said that I wanted to finish putting them to bed because I was there and I knew the moment I left, it would rile them back up.
Do you recall using the word protest to the officers? I protested for 30 minutes.
Say,
Ma'am, with respect to a 911 call, what was your intention in calling 911?
well, one, I still haven't had my purse at the time to leave. So that was the, and the other intention was so that I could be able to leave safely, because at that point, he just put his hands on me, he just tried to push me. I just wanted to leave.
So I'm curious then, why is the call and about him smashing his head in the wall repeatedly? Why are you telling the dispatchers that?
Because he just did that as I was calling them. Like the moment I said I'm calling 911, he started hitting his head against the wall. And that was very confusing to me. And so I let them know because I wasn't near them. In fact, the kids were the closest to me. And I informed them that that there were kids present and that what had happened was that he was trying to push me.
I mean, you guys had a custody arrangement at that time, correct?
Yes.
It was 50-50, correct?
Yes.
In response to the question I think the judge asked you, you had told Mr. Rasevi that Alex was his child, yes?
Yes.
And he was paying support for him, yes? Continues to, yes? You had the children 50-50. This was his night on September 24th, 24, correct?
Well, so that's a little tricky because the custody agreement actually states that on Tuesday, I pick up the kids from school. But because I was going to school at that time, I had asked him if he could additional.
So whose night was it on this night?
It's technically mine.
Okay. And this particular night, you guys had 50-50 custody, correct? Did you seek to try to change after this?
Not full custody, but I definitely felt like after this incident, John's behavior has grown increasingly concerning, to the point that the kids were coming and telling me very concerning things.
Now, Ms. Brennan, when you first gave the story to the judge, you said that my client had sort of his hands up and was stopping you from coming back into the apartment. Is that accurate?
I wouldn't say accurate. He actually like was pulling me by my shirt and then pushing me by my shirt, if that makes sense.
Did you have any sort of stretched out shirt, any marks, any injuries, anything that you could show the police to what we call corroborate that?
I don't think so.
Did you have any injury whatsoever?
No.
To your knowledge, did you see injury to Mr. Rasevi's head?
No.
But of course, your testimony is that he put his own head into the wall. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. No further questions.
I guess I'm trying to figure out. He asked you to leave, right? at some point.
Yeah, he asked me to leave and then,
But what was your response to him asking you to leave?
my response was, can I just finish playing argument that he's almost asleep?
Is that the give me 30?
No, that's not the give me 30.
Okay, so when does the give me 30 come?
That was prior, that was the first time he came into the room. He didn't ask me to leave, but he was getting agitated and saying that they don't do this while I'm here. And I just told him, give me 30 minutes and I'll be done. Putting them to bed. Because
And so how much time had passed before that comment and then him asking you to leave?
I wasn't aware of the time I didn't see, but I feel like it wasn't 30 minutes. It was definitely less than that.
When you said give me 30, what was his response?
He said, okay, and he closed the door.
And then at some point came back?
Yes.
Okay. So when he asked you to leave at that moment, I guess my question is why didn't you leave?
Because Arthur was still awake. His eyes were closed, but he was still awake. And I knew if I were to have gotten up, that would have just like kind of reawakened him. And that's why I was like, we'll just finish putting him to sleep. And then I'll leave. And then he was like, no, he needs to sleep down. I was like, okay.
Okay, so that was 2 times that he's asked you to leave because he said he asked you to leave.
Yes.
You didn't right then, right? And then he said, no, you need to leave right now.
Yes. And then after he said that, I was like, okay, fine. I'll leave. But then what I think kind of escalated the situation when I was trying to leave out of the bedroom entry door. He told me not to do that. He told me to leave.
Where was your cell phone?
I think it was in my hand at the time. Because I had it in the room with me and the kids.
Okay. And then when you exited out, did you exit out the bedroom door or the door that leads to the hallway through the bathroom?
The door that leads to the hallway through the bathroom because he was standing in front of the bedroom.
Didn't ask why, but that's the door you exited out of.
Yes,
How far is the stairway from that door?
I would say that.
Okay. And then did you head down the stairway?
No, because I didn't have my purse in the room with me when I was putting the kids to bed. It was in the kitchen area on like the little countertop.
And is that on the lower level?
No, that's on the top level.
That's on the same level as the bedrooms?
Yes.
Okay. And so you said, let me get my purse. And then you went to get your purse?
I was trying to, but that's when he cut me off before I could even grab my purse. They started like pushing me more towards the stair area where the door would lead to. Like there's a short set of stairs, like 2 or 3 steps, and then there's a long flight of stairs after that. That leads to like the door.
Did you ever get your purse?
I did once the police were there.
So prior to that, you didn't get your purse.
No.
So did you leave the building?
I went down the stairs.
Okay, so hold on a second. When you went downstairs, your purse was still upstairs?
Yes, because at the time I was on the phone with the police.
So you called the police from upstairs?
Yes, because after he let me go, I was able to call the police. Because I was trying to get his hands off of me, so he wouldn't push me down those stairs.
Can I ask you, if you had your cell phone with you and he wasn't letting you get your purse, why didn't you just leave And then as you did, call the police from outside or wherever and ask them to come so you could retrieve your purse.
Because I didn't even get that opportunity. Like, once I went to the direction of my purse and he cut me off, that's when he started pushing me. And that's when the whole altercation.
No, what I'm saying is, okay, that happens. So why didn't you then turn, go down the stairway, go outside, call the police to then get your purse?
Because he was holding on to me, like, he wasn't trying to let me go. I didn't have the opportunity to even like to fully even push him off of me so that I could even go down the stairs. The only reason why he let go is because the children saw what he was doing. And then after that, I went downstairs. Like, I called the police, I started heading downstairs, getting my stuff off, and the kids too.
So Mr. Guerin had asked you about a custodial arrangement. And so this was a school day?
It was a Tuesday night.
Okay. And so the 50-50 arrangement at the time was what?
It was, so it was like Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, Sunday, every other weekend. And then.
Stop.
Sorry.
When you say every other weekend,
Right.
for him?
Yes, for him, it was every other weekend. I have a weekend, he has a weekend, so we do 2 weekends with kids each month.
And then what happens during the weekday?
The weekday, he has them on Monday and Tuesday.
And this happened on Tuesday.
Yes.
So why do you say that was your day?
Because the way that our original agreement was laid out was that he has them until Tuesday morning, and then I pick them up in the Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, that won't work because really the agreement would talk about overnights, right?
Yes,
So who had custody that Tuesday overnight? Look at what day of the week. September 24th.
yes. I did. It was my night, but I had asked him to take care of the kids because I have class and play, so I wouldn't be able to take care of.
So suffice it to say, despite the agreement that when you requested that of him, he was to then take care of the kids.
Yes,
And they were going to stay that Tuesday overnight.
yes.
And then again, why were you there?
Why was I there?
Yeah.
I had asked John, and then he also had asked me to pick up his Target order because he ordered PS5 controllers for the kids, and I said that's fine. That I would do that.
Oh. So you asked him to hang out.
So, yes.
So all of this, what time were the kids being put to bed?
I didn't get to his place closer to like 8:30, 9 o'clock-ish. I don't remember the exact time, but I know it was like late.
And had you picked up the Target order?
Yes,
So it was 8:39. What time was during that time the kids' bedtime?
I don't know how you guys are bedtime structured at his house, but mine's at 7 o'clock.
Okay, were they in bed when you got to his house?
One of them wasn't. Alexander, the oldest one,
How old is he at the time?
he was about to be 6, so he was 5.
Okay,
He was 5, and he was up. He had opened the garage door for me before I even opened the door.
okay, so. At some point, but I mean, they're dressed for bed.
Yes, they were dressed for men. But I had informed John to let me know if they were up because then I wouldn't have I wouldn't really anything inside. Because I knew that I would roll them up. He was assuring me that they were in bed. Right. And so when they saw me, they're like, oh, mom's here, mom's here. So that's when I was like, oh.
Any questions based on the court's questions?
None from the people you're asking.
Nor do I, Your Honor. Thank you.
You step back. Call their next one.
The people no further witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. Witnesses for the defense.
Your Honor, at this time we would call John Residue, please.
Sir, please come forward.
Take a seat, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to affirm the testimony about you will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
So have a seat. State spell your first and last name.
John Reserve, J-O-H-N, R-Y.
Inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Reserve, good morning. Ask you, do you remember the events that occurred, did or did not occur on September 24th, 2024 at 9:40 p.m.? Just going to ask you point blank that night, John, did you aggressively push Miss Terrell Brennan at any time that night? Did you aggressively grab her sweatshirt, tug her sweatshirt, pull her in any way? Did you, I know it's a legal term of art, do you believe you assaulted her in any way? Were you violent towards her? Did you intend to harm her? Did you threaten to throw her down the stairs? Did you smash your own head against the wall? We're going to talk about all that in some details. Let me ask you a couple questions about you, sir. How old are you? And at the time, I'm guessing, what, 32 or so, yes? What do you do for a living? How long have you done that? I mentioned you're also a military veteran as well. What branch? Are you still in that or no? We heard some questions about Miss Terrell Brennan and your relationship with her. You two were never married, correct? Just very quickly, did you believe you had 2 sons with Miss Terrell Brennan? When did that change for you?
In November of
2020. And we heard some talk about a DNA test. Did you take a DNA test?
Yes.
Was that self-initiated?
Yes.
And did it, in your mind, prove that the oldest Alex was not your biological son?
Yes.
Had Miss Terrell Brennan previously told you that he was?
She did.
Did she fight that he wasn't your son at that time?
She refused to believe the first test.
At the time of September of 2024, is it accurate to say the two of you had a 50-50 custody arrangement?
It is.
Heard the judge ask us some questions. September 24th, do you recall if that was your night, Miss Terrell Brennan's night, or you don't recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. But were the children at your Primrose address?
They were.
I asked her that Miss Terrell Brennan had a separate apartment or separate location, yes?
Yes.
I want you, from your own perspective, to tell the judge what brought you two together that night.
We were going to have sex.
And who initiated contact?
She did.
And so was the plan to meet up after the children were asleep?
It was.
And do you recall what time she arrived?
It was approximately 8:30.
Were the boys sleeping at that point?
I thought
Okay. They were in their rooms?
Yeah.
And so what happens after Miss Brennan arrives.
I go downstairs to greet her. When I'm doing that, Arthur Jonas is the one that woke up. And then she must have spoken to that.
Okay. And I guess I'd ask you from there, did the night start to change a little bit?
After waiting for I wanted to get to that because I wanted to get to that.
And you said waited for what?
For her.
Okay. At any point, Mr. Rezavi, did you ask Miss Brennan to leave?
I did.
How many times would you say you asked her to leave?
Well, I did over again. Probably at least 10 times.
Getting back into your mindset, why were you asking her, telling her to leave?
I wanted to go to bed. I was tired. I wanted to get the kids to bed because it's going to be early morning.
And you said, asked her many times, did she agree?
When I told her actually to leave, she stormed out the bathroom door. Was starting to go downstairs, turn around, told me she could just stuff. I told her, I'll grab it, leave. She continued and tried to force her way through me. I held my ground with that. And then during that, I had my hands up and blocked myself. My hands pushed down. I snagged my thumb on her hoodie, at which point she yells, "Don't fucking touch me." And then she began to hit and shove me. And then I started, retreating, going back about 8 to 10 feet.
All right, lots to unpack there. We heard some conversation from her earlier that she said, give me some time, give me 30 minutes. Do you recall that statement? Okay. You said a second ago to the judge that you said, I'll get your stuff. What stuff were you going to get for her?
She had her purse. She also had a lock on that I didn't realize she had brought with. She received that. So the purse I gave to her. When she finally decided to go down the steps, I grabbed it, tossed it in a little square where the stairs changed direction for her to grab. I didn't realize she had a water bottle. Police told me that it was still there, so I gave that to them, and then they returned it to her.
All right, if we can back that up a little bit. At what point did you give her the purse back?
After she was shoving me, I hit my head. She called the cops, and then she left. So once you grabbed it.
Okay. Going back in time, when you say you'll get her stuff, why did you not want her coming back into the guts of the apartment?
She's taken things before. Particularly a ring.
Did you say a ring? And so when you tell her you'll get it, does she allow you to go get it for her at that point?
She would not. She told me to do it herself.
Okay. I want to ask you about the physical contact in very specific detail. I know I asked you this from the start, but did you sort of stop her physically by putting your hands on her?
I put my hands up. She was the one that was coming to me.
You indicated a second ago that your head hit the drywall. Can you tell the judge exactly where that occurred, how that occurred?
So everything started near the edge of the stairs. After she started pushing and shoving me about 10 feet, 8 to 10 feet. And there, I ended up losing my footing and my head hit the wall along the shoulder.
Okay. Do you recall what shoulder it was? Okay. So your right shoulder and your head, what side of your head hits the drywall? Did you do that of your own intention? Did you do that on purpose? Did you knowingly smash the side of your head into the wall? You said you lost your footing. Was that after she, you believe, touched you in some way?
Yeah, as she was in the process.
I'm going to ask you about sort of damage in both respects. Did the wall become damaged? And did your head or side of your head become injured in any way?
It was
red. I had a bit of a headache.
Maybe short circuiting a little bit. When the police arrived, I believe it was Officer Branch who's over my left shoulder. Did one of he or his partner take pictures of the scene?
They did.
Did you get pictures of the damage as well as to your head?
Yes.
Here I'm holding what I will mark preliminarily, if possible, as Defense Exhibit 1 or A. This is a picture that was in discovery, and I wonder if I may approach the witness with it. You may. Thank you. Mr. Arcevi, I've handed you what's been marked as, for identification purposes, Defense Proposed Exhibit A as an apple. Do you recognize that picture? And can you tell me what that picture or those pictures are?
One is of my forehead. The other is
And do those pictures accurately depict what you recall them looking like, whether it be the wall or your head on September 24th, 2024?
yes,
And is the top picture the damage to the wall?
it is.
Had that damage been there prior to the altercation between you and Miss Terrell? The picture of you, are you able to see any injury, redness on your head in that picture?
I am.
Was that injury or redness there before the incident with Miss Terrell? And do you believe then that those pictures accurately depict what happened to the wall and to your head that night?
I am.
Or I'd move for admission of Defense Exhibit A.
Any objection or voir dire? Exhibit A is admitted.
Thank you. Mr. Arcevi, as I sort of finish up here, I want to talk about the call to the police. Where was Miss Brennan when she called the police?
She was in between where I hit my bottom, between the stairs and where I hit my head. So near the bathroom door.
Did she have a cell phone with her?
She did.
I guess, you know, some questions about, asked her how she felt. How were you feeling at that moment when she was calling the police?
I was in shock.
Shocked because of what happened? Shocked because she was calling the police, or both?
Of what happened.
Now, I asked you some questions about the police arrival. Either Officer Branch or Escobar from Pittsfield did respond to the scene, yes? Did you cooperate with them to the best of your ability? Tell them essentially everything that you could remember about the incident? And were you honest with them? Okay, and honest with the judge today? Okay, Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Examination.
So, Mr. Rice, you mentioned, am I saying that right?
It's recipe.
Recipe? Recipe, okay. So you mentioned an incident in this narrative you put of someone hitting you, shoving you, you snagging your thumb on her sweater. Is that correct? Did you mention that to the police when you made the initial statement? And you mentioned also your shoulder from falling into the wall. Isn't it true that you told them that was hurt from something else previously than this incident in the body cam? Wait one moment, Your Honor.
Sir, the layout of this location, is everything upstairs?
So the garage is below. There's the door and the stairway goes out to it.
Gotcha. Okay. And was the person in the kitchen area or where do you think, where was her purse located?
The purse was in my bedroom.
So it wasn't in the kitchen area. Did you tell her to leave through the bathroom?
I didn't tell her specifically to leave the bathroom.
You didn't what did you tell her?
I told her to leave, and then she got very angry.
Between the two of you, physical contact between the two of you took place in the hallway area. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Were you not supposed to have the children that day? Do you recall?
I didn't recall.
You don't recall? Okay. After this, was there then any other like family court actions or anything that occurred between the two of you?
March, we had the court hearing, and then it's March of 2025, and September of 2025.
Okay, leading up to the March hearing, how was that initiated? What happened?
She initiated it after I son not being biologically mine. I was saying less than kind words about her.
Okay, so this incident happens at the end of September. Sometime in November, there's the DNA test.
Correct.
All right. After the DNA test, then within 3 to 4 months after that, you guys are back in court.
Yes.
That hearing, from your perspective, what was the purpose of that hearing?
She wanted to adjust the parenting time.
Both or for what? Adjust it from 50-50?
Yes, from 50-50 to our current arrangement, which is every other weekend. She has them.
Say again?
I have them every other weekend. She has them the rest of the time.
So she wanted it adjusted from 50-50 to basically a 65-35.
Correct, yeah.
During the course of those, you actually had a full hearing before a referee? All right. Did you have a hearing before the judge then?
No.
Did this case or this incident become a subject matter of that hearing at all?
I didn't know it was brought up.
Pardon?
It was not brought up.
It was not brought up. Okay. You didn't require any medical care, meaning the hospital or anything like that, did they?
When I was arrested, I did go to the hospital when my blood pressure was.
Pardon?
I went to the hospital after being arrested, my blood pressure.
For blood pressure. So prior, it's going to sound like a strange question. Prior to this time, to this September 24th date, were there calls like this before for you guys to get together to have sex, or
Never.
there were? Would that occur always at your house or at her place, or how would that work?
Primarily.
Pardon?
Primarily.
Primarily at your place. And who would initiate those calls?
We would both.
Both do it. Okay. And on this occasion, she initiated the call.
Correct.
On those occasions, or let me ask you about this one. Was it going to be have sex and then leave, or was she going to stay the night? What typically would?
She would generally leave.
She would leave. Okay. So no further questions. Any questions based upon the court's questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. So you may step down. Any additional witnesses for the defense?
There are not, Your Honor, thank you.
Your Honor, maybe.
May.
Oh my God. Oh, it's beautiful.
One thing that's not done is the paint. We want a different color.
Okay. Oh, no, but it's a functioning bathroom. It's beautiful.
So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And then they also finished that also just needs.
Oh, how happy are you? Ooh, nice drawer.
Low.
Lowe's. Okay.
So. Shopping.
Happy. No, that's, oh, is this the other one? Oh, I really like the floral joints.
All right. 14A, District Court of the County of Washington, State of Michigan, did not pass. They said it's
May be seated. All right, back on the case of people versus, say it again. Reserve. All right. Closing argument.
You're not going to leave this in the discretion of the court.
I will escalate, Your Honor, thank you.
Court was going to take a break and contemplate the decision. I don't think that I need to. In listening to the testimony in this case, and quite frankly, the defendant is in his home. There are two children there. Mr. Terrell's rendition of the facts and circumstances don't make much sense to this court as to why she didn't leave when requested to leave. He had the absolute right to ask her to leave the home. She did not leave. Also, the location of her purse, she says it was someplace else other than where the defendant says that it was. And quite frankly, I think that the testimony and credibility of the defendant far outweigh that of Ms. Terrell in terms of the events as they occurred, the timeline of what occurred, and what he was then requesting that she then leave at some point because she is there, and I got the sense way too long. I don't believe at all that the defendant in some way started throwing himself into a wall to cause damage, which just, I guess it could occur. I don't believe that that's what happened here. I think it was, as he stated, he lost his balance, came back, fell against the wall as there was this dispute going in. And quite frankly, given the entirety of the circumstances, it was incumbent upon Mr. Terrell to leave the premises As indicated, it was his premises. The kids were there. She, at the point he asked her to leave, did not, and she did not, he did not, she did not have a right at that moment to then be there, regardless of what she may have thought about giving 30 and doing whatever. So for those reasons, the court would find, and I'm just be honest with you, I don't have a lot of credibility in anything that she's saying when I'm looking at her testifying and what she's telling the court. And so for those reasons, court would find that the people have not sustained their burden and would find the defendant not guilty of these offenses. Thank you. You're not on a tether, are you, sir? No, okay. Thank you.
All right. I'll start at the top of my calendar with Rachel Berglund and Simon Ionescu. There we go. All right. Now this is going to serve essentially as a guide for the rest of you as well. What we're going to do is I'm going to swear both sides in. I'm going to take testimony. And after I'll start with the petitioner, I'll hear from the respondent. I will give the petitioner one last chance to wrap everything up. There are, looks like exhibits. Let me know what's important about these exhibits in your testimony, all right? Okay, would both of you or each of you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I swear.
All right, thank you. You can put your hands down. All right, and one thing I didn't say, but need to make absolutely clear, we only have a few hours this morning for these. Testimony doesn't get to go on for ever and ever. Try to, and it's not always possible, but try to make it brief, but on point. You should anticipate, even though I've reviewed records, you should anticipate that I haven't looked at anything. I need to hear what's important, what happened from you, because you're here. Okay. Rachel Berglund, you will start. What is it that this is a motion to renew a protection order. What would you like me to know here?
Your Honor, for context, the respondent had previously to this current protection order had been stalking and harassing me for about 8 years or so, including following me when I moved to different states, then sending me random items in the mail, clearly indicating that he knows where I live, sending emails after I had asked him to not message me ever again or contact me in any way, shape, or form, proceeded to send over 100 emails full of inappropriate, just paragraphs of like super graphic, inappropriate stuff, including images that were AI generated of me being naked, and other pictures of himself. Probably there was a lot that I didn't look at because it was so disturbing and disgusting. So despite me asking to stop contact, there was like considerable harassment, causing me to fear for my safety on a regular basis. Since then, there was the protection order that was granted last year, and the judge last year said that this is the type of behavior that results in like worse things happening that I should, like, what did he say? He said that the respondents should get help and that this is a serious threat and that he feared for my safety even, um, which was really validating because doing this whole process is like really scary and really stressful. So I appreciated that the judge could clearly see that there was something wrong with how I've been treated by the respondent. Since then, when the protection order was granted, or last year when I he was emailed the request to show up to court, even though he had already received it and seen it, still proceeded to send me another email, like further contacting me, even though he had received notice that he was to not contact me and come to court. So hence violating the temporary protection order that he was given. And I've also received like strange things in the mail. And so I have no way to prove that that was him, but that was something that he had done before. And to me, it feels like if someone finds ways to like make me question my safety, even though there's a piece of paper that's supposed to protect me, but I can't prove, it causes a lot of anxiety and fear on a regular basis. I would really appreciate if this protection order could be renewed, because I don't think that if it were to go away, that the harassment would just stop. I think that it would either amp up or absolutely continue. If it happened for 8 years, it's not just going to go away.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ionescu, did I say that correctly?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Ionescu.
Pretty. Ionescu.
Yeah, it's a weird last name.
Okay. Well, I try to get it right. All right.
Okay.
You are the respondent. This is your turn. What would you like me to know?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to point out I have maintained no contact. I've not violated the order in any way, and that's because I have moved on. And there's no need for renewal because there's no threat. There was actually never a threat to begin with. I mean, there was. I communicated and I over communicated with Ms. Berglund for a long time. Of course, all she heard is, "Oh, he's a psycho." Yeah, look, I could sit here and I could, huff and puff about the exaggerated claims and like the false narratives that she constructed in her report. like they did. I moved to states to be closer to her. I moved to California because my two best friends moved to Silicon Valley, and I was wanting to do a startup. I was working for a startup. Like, I didn't move there for her. Okay, like that's absurd. So, I mean, she's just exaggerating and making all these claims. But at the same time, I do understand why she is, exaggerating everything that happened between us, because I scared her. Okay, I did. I have to own up to that. I mean, last year I tried to apologize, and the judge said I was trying to maintain a relationship with her. I just wanted to say, oh, sorry, but whatever. So look, I will absolutely leave her alone. To be honest with you, look, there was actually some substance abuse involved in some of the emails that I sent her. And the only reason I was sending her all these emails was just because, for whatever reason, Your Honor, whatever reason, interacting with her improved my creativity. She has inspired an idea that I think has the potential to have a big impact on the world. And I just, I communicated and over communicated with her on all these things. And I think, honestly, on some level, I'm almost glad it happened, because it led me to, well, things got much worse before they got better. especially after the video from last year of this trial went viral, and I started getting like all of my social medias were just attacked on the internet. I was attacked because people were in my comments, and I had to turn all my social medias private. And I think some of those were probably coming from people in her camp. I don't know who she told or whatever. I mean, she's been in the military, and I suspect she got her group of friends to send me threats. I got all kinds of threatening emails and everything else.
Just on topic, please.
So my point is, like, that alone is like a big deterrent, but also we are 2,000 miles apart. Like, I live in Tennessee, she lives in Washington State. Like, the distance alone is a natural barrier. And like, look, I would never do anything to harm her. Like, the only reason that I was sending her emails is because I thought she liked it. Okay, I thought she liked it. And a very important point that I want to make here, and this is absolutely critical, is that yes, technically she told me to stop. Okay. I sent her about 115 emails in total. Around email 63, she told me to stop. Okay. And I didn't stop, and I should have. Okay. I acknowledge that. But the reason I didn't stop was because I was sending her money. Okay. And if you look at the exhibits, you can see royalties to Miss Berglund. You can see Venmo payments that I sent her at the time. She didn't say anything for over a year and 3 months. She said nothing to me. Okay. She was just quietly accepting the money. And that's where I think that plays a really critical factor in this whole misunderstanding is, I thought, well, she's accepting the money. And then she was kind of posting, she unblocked me after that. I sent her money and she unblocked me on social media and started posting pictures, almost like she was cooperating, like she was okay with it.
Did I hear you say those were royalty payments?
Yeah, I called her my muse. I said she inspired my work. I thought she was into it. I didn't realize, it was causing so much fear and anxiety. I don't want her to fear for anything. That wasn't my intention. I thought, we were friends. We were neighbors years ago. We got along. We hung out like all the time. We used to go boating together and everything else. I thought she was like, but look, it doesn't matter. I moved on. I will never contact her again. There's no need for a renewal. This is impacting my personal and professional life. People are really questioning my character for over a misunderstanding. I just,
right.
This is too much.
Is there anything else you would like me to know?
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. So one thing I will say is, when I reached my low point, I went into counseling, and I didn't realize. I thought like my only problem was ADHD, and turns out I might be. She seems to accuse me of being she seems to think that I'm like a narcissist or like a psychopath or something. But this is like a very common category error for certain symptoms overlap. Turns out, I guess I'm a little bit autistic, a little bit somewhere on the spectrum. And I think that probably played into my ability not to fully, how do I say this? I have a hard time kind of picking up on social cues, I guess, sometimes. And I think I totally screwed up. I did not mean to scare her, Your Honor. I did not. I actually thought she liked it. I really did. I thought she liked it. I thought she was into it. And I misread the entire situation. And this is just a big misunderstanding. That's all I want to say. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Berglund. And you don't have to say anything, but if there is anything you want to say to wrap it up, it's your turn again.
Your Honor, I don't think there's really much for me to say other than that me saying do not contact me in any way, shape, or form. If I am contacted, I will be considering it harassment is pretty clear and not that easy to misunderstand. And I believe in your ability to judge the situation, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Okay, I am going to reissue this order. And it'll be just a moment while I fill out the paperwork. If as you indicate, Mr. Ionescu, you do not wish to be contacting her, then this should be a simple year where you just don't have any contact. That makes it really simple.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, the damage is done, you know. If it makes her feel safer, that's fine.
Okay, since both of you were present, neither of you, I have signed that order for 1 year. Neither of you needs a copy, but both of you can get copies from the court if you would like. The order is renewed. That will be it for this morning. Thank you. Next will be Michael Elm and Daniel Wisnant. Good morning again, Mr. Elm. Daniel Wisnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning. I don't know if you heard my very brief introductory remarks. You signed on just a tiny bit late, but I'm just going to repeat it here. The way this is going to work, I will swear both of you in and take testimony first from Mr. Elm, then from you, Mr. Wisnant, and then return to Mr. Elm for a rebuttal, if any. You should each assume, even though I usually have reviewed all of the documents, you should each assume that what I will know about your case is what you are telling me. And so if there are exhibits that are important, you will need to tell me why they are important and tell me why this order should or should not issue. Okay, having said that, would each of you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
We do. Okay. Before we begin, before I start taking your testimony, Mr. Elm, do you still wish, it looks like this is a motion to renew the order. Do you still wish to renew it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And all right, let's hear your testimony, Mr. Elm.
Thank you, Your Honor. This protection order, the 1-year protection order was issued last March. The basis for it was multiple threatening statements that he made, threats of bodily harm to me. He made these statements not directly to me, but to his now ex-wife, who is a friend of mine. We were also co-workers for several years. In some of these statements, I'm sorry for the very vulgar language here, but to quote him, and some of the things that he said was that he was going to, quote, fuck him up and, quote, fucking crush his fucking face and, quote, go to prison for knocking fucking dick faces fucking teeth out. He also described having a confrontation with me at church, at home, or out on the street somewhere. In one of the messages that he sent, he said to his ex-wife, and I'm for sure not driving around trying to track you down, get over yourself. I'm just going to do my best to have the face-to-face with Elm. If it's at church, so be it. This all began because of an imagined affair that he thought I was having with his now ex-wife. A couple months before that, he imagined that she was having an affair with with her previous ex-husband. A few years before that, he imagined she was having an affair with a doctor that she worked with. That's what led to this. And he was making threatening statements to her at the same time that he was making these threatening statements to me. And she got a domestic violence protection order issued back then, and that was just renewed. And so that's a little bit of the history for the origin of the protection order. And from reading his declaration, it's apparent that he believes that by bringing up things unrelated to this protection order, he can call into question my character and discredit me and distract the court from his history of violence, including beating a man with a wrench years ago, his long history of drug abuse, his lack of empathy, and his failure to take any accountability for his actions. Despite his ex-wife having a protection order against him that required him to undergo drug abuse evaluation and treatment, as well as mental health evaluation and treatment, he has not complied with those requirements. And that protection order was just extended to 99 years within the past few weeks. His complete disregard for those requirements demonstrates he has no desire to accept responsibility for his actions. He has not expressed any remorse regarding the threatening statements he made and actions he took toward me, but rather he's trying to pass it off as hyperbole during an, quote, emotionally charged conversation. That's from his declaration. I want to first address one completely unrelated issue that he submitted along with his declaration, which he is attempting to use to paint a very unfavorable picture of me. Within this portion of his declaration, he made multiple false statements. So 6 years ago, I had a brief relationship with an employee where I worked. At that clinic, all the employees received free medical services from the providers on an informal basis. Because of that, the employees were all technically considered patients. At that time, I did not realize that was the case because the minor services we provided were done on a casual basis without appointments and no charging or anything like that. Over 3 years after that relationship ended, that person was prompted to file a complaint with the DOH, and that's what led to my 6-month license suspension. I was not deemed a, quote, sexual degenerate by the DOH, contrary to what Mr. Wisnet asserted in his statement. The record at the DOH confirms that this was an employee. Additionally, his statement, he stated that there were multiple complaints against me at my former office by coworkers and patients. That's completely false. Because this issue is completely irrelevant to the protection order being discussed today and inappropriate, in my opinion, to be included in these records, I do request that his statements regarding this be redacted from the record. And I additionally request that the copy of the DOH record that he included with his declaration be removed from the records of this case. Mr. Wisnick has claimed that the original protection order was based solely on hearsay with no witness testimony. It's not hearsay when I have the actual text messages and voice messages that he sent. In addition to the things I printed, I also had submitted a USB drive a year ago with the voice recordings. I also could have provided witness testimony today, but this declaration of his was only served on me about 12 hours before this hearing, making that impossible. He claimed that his texts and voicemails were taken out of context, which is not the case. He made threatening statements about me at the same time he was making threatening statements toward his ex-wife. So his statements made toward me were frequently mixed in with those directed toward her. I do not believe there is any context that would make it okay for him to say things like he wanted to hit me so hard I'd feel it forever, and the other things that I already mentioned earlier. He claimed in his declaration that his words do not constitute a direct threat to me and therefore do not justify a protection order. This is an invalid argument. If he were talking to a mental health provider and made such statements to them, that provider would be obligated to notify me of the imminent threat. His words would not be protected by HIPAA. Therefore, even though the threats were not spoken directly to me, it does not make them any less real. He also stated that he did not take any action to justify a protection order. Again, this is not true. He showed up at my house, apparently not knowing that I had already moved out of there. He also tried calling me multiple times in a row, despite not previously having my cell phone number. He had to deliberately put effort into tracking down my personal cell phone number in order to make those calls. He also tracked down the personal cell phone numbers of my former coworker and his wife and called them trying to talk to them about me. He also called my former workplace multiple times wanting to talk about me. He also showed up at my former office and wrote graffiti on the walls there. And he also posted a defamatory fake advertisement in Shelton about me. Mr. Wisnett has also decided to believe that his ex-wife had an affair with me. He also believes, like I mentioned before, that around that same time, like a couple months earlier, that she had an affair with her previous ex-husband. He also believed a few years prior to that she had an affair with, this is a pattern of behavior of his. And the fact of the matter is he is the one who had several affairs while he was married, which he has admitted to. But for years, he's projected onto his now ex-wife, accusing her of being the one who was cheating. It is true, like I said, that I worked with his ex-wife and became friends with her. And in the fall of 2024, she helped me out while I was moving, including letting me temporarily forward mail to her house. Mr. Wisnett stated there's no reasonable basis for my fear, partly citing the lack of contact with me over the past year. However, lack of contact does not demonstrate there's no risk. It simply demonstrates that the protection order has helped to keep me safe. Just knowing that there was a possibility of him being present at this hearing caused me daily anxiety over the last couple of weeks. And since receiving his declaration about 12 hours ago, I have felt continually anxious, jittery, and sick to my stomach, which is currently the case. Presently the case. He is a physically intimidating man, twice my size, who has a history of violence, holding grudges, and drug abuse, which makes him even more unpredictable. He continues to believe things that are not true. He takes no responsibility for his actions. He has still not sought drug abuse and mental health treatment. These things all contribute to making him a continued threat to me. Additionally, right after he was served with the paperwork for this hearing, he started calling his ex-wife's adult son. Over the past year, he's continued to pester him. This shows his inability to let go of issues. He has not demonstrated in any material way that he is not a risk to me. In fact, his complete disregard for the terms of his domestic violence protection order demonstrates he does not feel the need to make any changes. I have taken several steps to try and minimize the risk of him ever having any contact with me, including trying to keep my new address private. At the initial filing of the protection order, I provided ample evidence to justify the protection order, contrary to what he said in his statement. And the court has all of this on file. And I believe the burden of proof now rests on him. And he has not provided any evidence that he is no longer a threat. Rather, his actions speak otherwise. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wisnett, just a moment before I take your testimony, I have a question for my clerk.
Okay.
Okay, returning to this matter, that did go a little long there, Mr. Alm. I understand you are pushing to have this move forward, but I don't want to. I have to get everyone heard before the end of the calendar, and I don't want to cut anyone short. So just keep that in mind, please. Mr. Wisnett, your turn. What would you like me to know, please?
Where to start off? First of all, I mean, I don't intend or I don't have any interest in Mr. Elm, or Ms. Pittman for that matter. So I'm sorry, this is all just, that's a little much, but, you know, when I came home, I worked on a boat in Alaska. And when I came home, I came home to find out that, the forgery had happened with the divorce. She had forged stuff, and then there was theft of my bank account. And I came home to something unexpected, you know, and I, you know, me and the ex-wife, like we had our text messages, that we had between each other, and yes, they did get inappropriate between me and her. But there was I never made threats to him, like publicly to anybody or anything like that, and when I found out that he was staying at my house, and found out that he was getting mail sent to my house, I did want to talk to him. And like I said, there's no excuse for messages that I had with my wife, like the language and stuff that was very inappropriate. And on that matter, it was a lot of it was like a tit for tat. And like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses for the language that I used or anything like that, but it was like that was kind of like what we had between each other, and it was not right, so there's no excuse for that. But, and then I ended up getting an attorney, and I was misrepresented by the attorney. So I don't think I was represented well with that, what happened with me and the ex-wife. So anyways, and there's no accusations. A lot of this is hearsay, I feel. And I don't know what else to say besides, I have plenty to say, but I don't intend on causing harm or making contact or anything with Mr. Elm. I do not have any intentions like that. And I would like this to be, for this order to not happen, because, my rights are taken away, and I want my rights. So I guess that's it at the moment.
Okay. Before I return to you, Mr. Allen, you both mentioned hearsay, but evidence rule 1101C3, hearsay can come into protection orders. So if you're going to be making legal arguments, this is why you really should not be representing yourselves, because I would rule that it comes in both those instances. All right, Mr. Elm, anything to wrap up?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to reiterate that that the hearsay is an argument that he made in his declaration, and like I said before, hearsay, none of it was hearsay. It's all written audio recordings.
No declaration was filed with the court.
I'm sorry?
No declaration was filed with the court.
Oh, okay. Well, he had this declaration served on me by the same person that served my paperwork onto him. Would you like me to forward that to the or no, I guess I shouldn't, because like I said, I would request that that not be allowed, because there's inappropriate things that are irrelevant to this case that he included in it. But I think I've already made a rebuttal to all the arguments that he made in his declaration, which I now understand you do not have. And I don't think I have anything further, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, I do have a question. Since that declaration has not been filed already, if it gets filed later or something, is that going to automatically become a part of this, or is it not going to be admitted as into the record?
I do not have it, so I will not be considering it. However, anything that does get filed is part of the court record. You would have to file a separate motion to seal, civil motion to see what might occur there. I am not going to decide in advance without consideration of the merits. I simply don't have a written motion in front of me on that, but at the moment, none of what you mentioned is in the court record. All right, I am ready to rule. I am going to reissue this order for 1 year. And I am doing this primarily as a precaution I do want to take a look at the previous order, but my concern would be that even though it was arguably delivered late as part of this case, that declaration, since it didn't come to the court, sounds as though it was likely inappropriate. Now, you did rebut it, Mr. Elm, and I am not considering it. I am troubled simply by the fact of its existence with it not being filed with the court, not the content. I did not hear sufficient testimony to lead me to believe that there won't be any ongoing contact. As far as rights, this is an anti-harassment order. I am not requiring any surrender of weapons, nothing of that sort. Mr. Wisnett, you'll simply need to not contact Mr. Elm and don't go near him. If you see him, go the other way. So really, your rights are minimally restricted. Just leave them alone.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, since you both appeared, neither of you has to get a copy of the order, but copies are available from the court if either of you wishes to have an order. Oh, actually, I may have left a box off on that. Let me take a look. I got it on there. Thank you. Okay, that will be it for today for both of you. Mr. Wisnett, I know you're disappointed. Mr. Elm, that might not even have been everything you wanted, but that is what I'm going to do. Hopefully, this ends it. And it sounds as though Mr. Wisnett is, at least with regard to you, Mr. Elm, hopefully remorseful for his actions. So hopefully this won't come up again next year. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. I believe that takes us to the one remaining case. And I see both sides are still here. Thomas Soto, please step up to this table. And Darla Hatcher West, please step up to this table. And sir, your name is not Darla Hatcher West, so yeah, please have a seat back.
Public hearing, so I wanted to get a little closer.
Do we have a hearing device? You can be seated. Yes, we're just testing the device to make sure it's working, and that one is not. I have these wonderful hearing aids. I get to hear everything. I just turn them up. Okay, now we're testing again to see if this other device is working.
Not working.
Uh-oh. It may have been a while since their batteries were charged, perhaps. Okay, and we're trying again with another one. Okay.
One to use this, which should allow you to hear a little bit better.
Just want to ask you. That. All right, hopefully everyone can hear now. Is the gentleman a witness, or are you going to be wanting him to testify? Okay. When the time comes, I'll swear him in at the beginning, but when the time comes, you'll need to have him step forward, and you will have to ask him questions, and Mr. Soto will be able to ask him questions. I may ask questions as well. All right, let's start. All three of you, please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay. You have each seen this a number of times now, so you know how it works. I start with Mr. Soto, and then I turn to you. If you have a witness, we can hear from your witness. As I just said, you will have a chance to cross-examine the witness as well. You should each anticipate that I haven't reviewed the documents. I have, but that's kind of beside the point because we have people here to give live testimony. So, all right, Mr. Soto, please.
Well, basically, I want the protection order to stop the harassment that's been happening ongoing for, I'd say, about 8 months. And the evidence I turned in, it's not all of it. It's just a part of it. So I wasn't sure how much I needed just to get the protection order granted. If there is more needed, I would need time to gather the rest. Basically, it was 6 months of text messages that were harassing constantly from the respondent to a number of things. It was ongoing. I've asked her to stop. She wouldn't stop. And then once I finally blocked her number from mine to not call my number, she proceeded to text my kid's mother, who also lives with me, and just say all kinds of things to her, like I'm mentally abusing her for some reason. I'm physically abusing her. What's my name? Is it Thomas my real name? In fact, what are we hiding down there on the property? She's going to find out what we're hiding soon, and that we're all probably illegal immigrants. So there was that. Once she was unable to text me anymore, then started the in-person contact of yelling at us, screaming from a distance, and then coming to our driveway at 12:30 and at midnight, after midnight, 12:30, 2 times in 1 week. And in the same week, there were 2 incidences at 5:30 in the morning, the exact time that me and my son leave for work and school in the morning, so that we could be yelled at again from the shadows of the darkness of her yard. Things like, well, besides profanities, things like we don't have permission to be here. We don't have permission to stand on the porch. We don't have permission to do this, do that. I couldn't understand most of it. And a 5th time, even the same week that I filed this petition, once was at my daughter. My daughter was doing yard work on the side of the house, and the respondent went down the the private easement that there is to another property behind hers, and proceeded to yell at my daughter, saying she doesn't have permission to do what she was doing, yelling at her and then calling her profanities and names. My daughter just stopped, looked at her, smiled, and continued on, was about to report, but then she drove off. The times at 12:30 at night, one was just to argue, to do nothing. The other time was to drop off some kind of plastic bag with stuff in it on the porch, and then you talk and say some statements and profanities into my camera. Even when the sheriff showed up a few days after that week, as he was showing up asking me about one of the incidences, she proceeded to yell at me or him or all of us at that time. The sheriff was trying to listen to what she was saying, and I just said, I really don't care. At this point, it doesn't matter what she's saying. It doesn't matter to me. It's better for me to ignore it and not get upset over it or to react. And he yelled out, "Sheriff's Department," very loudly, and she still continued with profanity, saying what I could make out from the sheriff and my kid's mother and my kid, that it was something about being on the grass, standing on the grass. And he was like, "Is there a problem with the grass?" I go, "Not that I know of." I go, "She's only complained about people turning around in the grass, as if I have control over what delivery drivers or random people that drive down the driveway do." Yeah, and then he was there to witness that, at least the profanities that she was yelling and this and that, which would be on the record of the calls and his statement. He gave me the CAD number for that, which I don't have with me. I honestly assumed today that I was going to have to ask for a continuance from talking to the sheriff's office. They told me they probably wouldn't have her served by today. So I honestly didn't expect this to go anywhere, or else I would have brought more evidence to submit and family. Yeah, basically it's just ongoing things like that. They're nonstop yelling at me from her yard with other people, saying my name clearly, talking to me. So it's been a real issue. And one of the most major issues of this all is that my water, I have no access to running water in our house for, I'd say, it's well beyond 60 days. It's approaching 90 days now. And when we tried to find out what the cause was, we were given different reasons at first. One was it's being fixed, it's priming, something like that, and it will go off and on. I looked it up. And in fact, wells do that. They go off and on for a couple, maybe an hour, half hour. What they don't do is they don't go off for 2.5 days straight and then just turn back on magically, like it happened to me. And then again, the second time it happened was for 3.5 days. And the excuse was, I was told that because the respondent claimed I didn't pay the rent, she can't pay her electric bill. Therefore, there's no water. The well cannot be on, and therefore I get no water. Too bad. And then it turned back on after 3.5 days after I had contacted the respondent's husband, which I would say ex-husband, but it's her current husband, that they are separated. He said, "I'm sorry about your situation. I can't make any promises. I'll see what I can do." And he went down there, and when he left, it was on. The third time was since, I believe, November 22nd. It's been off since then. So that's how long we haven't had water. And since then, me and my family have had to buy 100-gallon drums, various ones, elevate them, filtration systems, hoses, whatnot, and bring in water from outside and filter it, clean it, and then bring it inside with buckets and use other pumps and things that we have in the house for showers connected to things. So we've been kind of doing okay so far with having to deal with all that. We've gotten a little bit used to it, but it's been very, very tough, especially having one child in high school still, having to deal with all this. Yeah, I guess that's about it for right now that I want to even talk about. And not to mention the videos I have, one of just coming down there harassing us just for nothing, and the other one of the respondent's friend who is present here in the courtroom coming down to the property to have a dog attack me for no good reason, then telling me I should be afraid if I was him or if he was me. As far as the dog, because it is I don't know what it is, maybe a pit bull, but it's loose all the time. It's never on a leash, and it's in their yard, which is only so far from ours. So I had stated to him, "Do I have to be afraid every time I come outside?" Because it ran at me and attacked me. And I was lucky that he had yelled and it stopped it in its tracks just before it got to me. And he said, I said, do I have to be afraid every time? He goes, he's always loose. And he said, I would be if I was you. I go, what is that supposed to mean? Are you threatening me? And then he just laughed it off and that was it. I do have that on video.
All right, anything additional at the moment?
Not right now. Not right now.
And you've already been sworn in, so you are under oath. What would you like me to know?
Well, see, when Mr. Soto, when I met him, that wasn't his last name, I let him move in for $800 off the rent to clean the place because I couldn't due to a stroke. He's been doing nothing but tearing the structure apart. He's a bus driver, he's not a carpenter. He doesn't know what he's doing there and pulling it off the mobile home. He can't do that stuff. He can't tear apart the inside and change it to what he wants. He had no permission to do so. And he keeps doing that. He has not paid rent since October because he just felt he didn't have to. Well, I have a problem with my pump and I don't have any income because he's annihilated it. So how can I get it fixed? Because my breaker's one's popping because the well's on my place. And he seems to think for some reason it's not my property. It's been in my family since 1962 when my grandpa bought it. So I think I'm on the property. He doesn't think I am. He calls it nonsense. F you, F bitch, F you, F you, all this time. Stop doing stuff you're not allowed to do or don't have permission to do. You can't go in and paint because you feel like it. You gotta have permission. Paneling, you painted paneling, you didn't have permission. And he keeps doing all this. And I keep telling him all the time, you can't do that stuff. You have to talk it over. It has to be written. You can't just go and do what you want.
Is there a written rental or lease agreement?
As a verbal one, they need supposedly
there
needing some help.
Are methods to address these things. You can't, that's why things are supposed to be in writing. All right, continue, please.
So I'm just, the damage is getting bigger and bigger. He encroached on the wetland, knowing it was a wetland. You can't do anything with it. You have to leave it alone. And he's gone overboard with that. Took the gravel from the driveway to move it over and make it wider. You can't do that. There's not enough room. It's a wetland. I can't use 20% of that land. Or I have two places on the same piece of property. So either place gets no benefit from the wetland. You can't do anything with it. And he's already encroached on it. So when the county finds out about it, I'll be the one getting in trouble, not him, because I'm the property owner. But he doesn't think I am. My husband, ex-husband, whatever you want to call him, he didn't do any of that. He says he didn't accept any money from Thomas. I don't know that. He told Thomas to pay. You owe $8,400 as for rent, not right now. What am I supposed to do with income? That's my income. And you totally took it away because you felt like it. I have obligations with traffic court too. Haven't been able to make those.
There are, as I said, there are methods to address things like rent not being paid, terms of an agreement not being followed. It is very difficult to determine what the terms of an agreement are if it's not in writing. All right, what else would you like me to know?
Yeah, when I went down there, Super Bowl night, they were up. They were pulling on the deck with their car. There's a deck on the front of the mobile, and it's got a pergola on top of it. They're pulling it off, and I went down there and told them to stop. I never even got out of my car. And Thomas sprayed me several times with some sort of chemical in the eye. I don't know what it was. All I seen was an orange lid, and he was squirting me in my eyes, and I couldn't see. It burned like, oh my God, I can't believe how bad it burned. He had no reason to do that. I wasn't going at him. How would I get back in my van when I'm getting sprayed in the eyes? I had to turn around in the yard because the fence for the neighbor's fence to stay away from that. I couldn't see to leave. So I had to go out on the road for a short, maybe a half a block, but still, I'm going on the road with no eyesight. My house guys had to help me in the house and get water and ice on my eyes and get them rinsed out and get ice on my eyes. That wasn't nice. That's just all with a chemical. Oh yeah. I filed the charge the next day. I couldn't dial the phone. I couldn't see the numbers. And it took about a week for my eyes to finally stop.
Anything else as far as this order?
No.
Any rebuttal?
Yeah, I could say that just about all that is untrue, of course, except for the spraying that I needed to defend myself. But aside from everything else, she's taken me to court already on a protection order against me that got dismissed about a month ago because there was no basis to her claims. The judge found, and he found quite the contrary after reading the almost 300 pages of texts, that I would be harassed with the same stuff, same details, whether you want to call it them tearing up the place, which is not true, or encroaching on the wetland, which is not true. It's the same exact stuff I started from the beginning that I had permission on, and she decided to pretend it. I never had permission. When I realized this was happening, I was really worried. I stopped. I have messages sending her saying, look, I've taken the whole summer off, told my job I'm not going to take trips because this house needs so much cleaning up and renovation, not remodeling, but renovation. And so I was on hold for about a day, just sitting there thinking, it was crazy. I want to continue painting, want to continue patching up holes, replacing carpet, putting tile down, all that stuff, which looks much better. And I go and talk to her in person, and it was strange because I just couldn't understand these texts I was getting, plus the texts I got from a different number that she would not identify who she was. So I felt like I was being watched because I was being told weird things like, I hope you're not going to put brand new carpet down over old carpet and with no padding. And I was like, who is this? And she would respond, and then I'd get more comments about it. And then I said, I'm not going to speak to you. I don't know who this is. If you're a neighbor, who. I did not think it was her at the time until later on. It became basically her main number that we communicated through. And she didn't let me know for about 12 days that who it actually was sending me these strange texts. Her friend, the gentleman here, he went down after all her claims of that I'm destroying this place. He went down saying, I expected this place to be destroyed. This is back when he was more cordial with me. And he looked at everything and he goes, there's nothing wrong with it. He goes, she made me think it was totally destroyed. And I told him, yeah, look at this is making the driveway better. It was unlevel. I added rocks. I did not take away rocks or destroyed the driveway in any way. I added some cinder blocks to help like as a retaining wall. I painted. She said I could paint. We discussed that the very first day we met. He goes, hey, he wants to paint before he puts carpet in. And she was like, oh, nice. And that's it. And when I did it, then she saw the color and she had a problem with the color. That's in the text. So it kind of shows that there was permission because these things were acknowledged by her in the texts. And then she just had a problem with maybe the way it looked or the style. And I feel like it was just something, she just wanted to be upset with something every single day with me. She would yell at me for a woodshed I built right behind the carport that is just right against it. And she would say things like, you can't connect anything to the carport. It's not allowed. The county can't do it. I can't do it. What makes you think you can do it? And then, with all the profanities and start calling me names, I not once responded to her in that manner until months and months later, about 6 months later, when I had had enough and I was out with my family trying to enjoy the day. And even then, we still get a text from her saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's when I had lost it. And that's the only piece of information or proof she had that she was claiming I was harassing her when it's the opposite. She will say things like she was supposed to have the roof fixed. We have a leaky roof as we speak, and it would leak more if I hadn't put these humongous tarps that I had bought brand new to cover it because the old ones were getting old and deteriorating and moving from the wind. So I placed 2 brand new ones up there. And we still do have one minor leak. It's coming through every time it rains. I don't know how it gets through, but it does. When I ask her things like, and I didn't bug her about it the whole summer. I was calm. And I said, any word on the roof? And she wouldn't let me know anything. And then one day she sent somebody down to our house without telling me, which she did admit on record in the last court. And she starts yelling at us when she comes down one night saying, your daughter ran the roof guy off. So don't give me any shit about not getting the roof fixed or trying to get it fixed. And I go, what do you mean he ran him off? This is the part where I realized, and my family saw, she's not rational or doesn't seem to be in the same reality as we are. I go, what do you mean she ran him off? And she goes, he came down here to fix the roof and she wouldn't give me any information and she ran him off. And how was she supposed to know who he was or what he wanted? She goes, and I go, you didn't even tell us. And she goes, I don't have to tell you. And I go, I think you do. If you're going to send somebody down here randomly, you need to let us know ahead of time who it is. And it turns out when I talked to my daughter, he had never said he was there to fix the roof. He had asked for her by name. And she simply said, sorry, I think you have the wrong house. It's up there. And that was it. He walked away. And then from that, she says he ran him off. I mean, and I asked her nicely about 2 or 3 times to stop bringing up my daughter's name in the texts as if she has some part of this in the confrontation and all this nonsense. And she would stop and then bring it back up again. And it's been ongoing. And she says the things about the rent that started. What I basically think is she tried to use the last harassment case to get money and turn this into what it needs to be, besides my harassment issue, is I would say, an eviction hearing, something like that. And I've gladly welcomed that. I've said, please do that so we can show what the proof you have and the proof I have to show who's in the right, who's in the wrong for doing what they're doing. And that doesn't excuse the harassment that you've been doing. And I've never tried to be freeloading or live there for free. I paid every single time. And when it came to the month 6, and I have texts showing, I've even given her money 10 days ahead to help her out when she had money issues, telling me that her van's going to get taken away. She can't pay for the license. She can't pay for this court, that court, all kinds of things I didn't ask about. I said, you know what? If you'd like, I can give you the rent tomorrow, basically 10 days ahead of time to help you out. Not alone, nothing, just ahead of time, no big deal. And she was like, okay, thank you. And I did. And when it came to the next month, she started saying something about it. She asked me to borrow $200, actually more than one time, even our vehicles, to drive them. And I nicely told her, no, I will give you a ride, but I cannot let you borrow my vehicle, knowing the things I knew, like she doesn't have a license. It's not valid right now. She's risking it every time she drives her own vehicle. And I said, I'll drive you. I just need notice. She sends somewhere in the next few days, she asked for a ride. And 2 hours later, when I didn't respond within 2 hours, which I'm still at work, mind you, because I have a long work day, she says, you're not a man. You're not a man of your word. I guess you were lying. That was just fake. You don't care at all. And I hope you're going to have the rent on time this month, because if you don't, it's $50 a day for late fees, which we had never discussed. And I told her immediately, I said, oh, this is going to be a problem. I said, the rent coming up is paid for already. And you know that because of the $1,000 of carpet and installation I had put in the house, which we discussed in the beginning and they knew about. And as soon as that happened, that's when the magical water well problem started happening 2 times and then finally permanently. And I've never been told anything about when it might be fixed or when it's going to get help. When I tried to pay her bill, the electric bill, the one time the well was off, that she said it was because of her electric bill she couldn't pay, because I didn't pay apparently. She would not tell me how much it was, and she accused me of trying to get her personal information somehow, and I never asked anything about that. And I have texts where she stated that her friend that was living with her, another gentleman and a neighbor, are all thieves, and that she was going to call the police as much as she could on the neighbor next door anytime she heard them argue. She also said, I'll probably nail the inspector that came by from Orca, I believe, that accused her of burning materials other than wood. She was going to get a harassment case on him. And I have texts of that. So there's a pattern showing that almost everyone around her, when I never asked her, she just sent me these texts unprompted, just to do it. She would tell me personal things and say, I'm gonna get this person, I'm gonna get a case on this person, and this person's a liar and this person's a thief. And I was just like, okay. And I wanted to block her immediately when this all started, but I didn't, because I knew that this would be evidence and I would probably need it because this might go somewhere. And it did. Yeah, and the whole thing about $800 saving on rent, a lot of this doesn't make any sense, which I guess it's not the place to really prove all that, but it's not what the case was.
And 90% or more of all of this sounds like a landlord-tenant issue,
right,
which is not in front of me. What is in front of me is whether or not there is harassment and whether or not there needs to be an order. Realistically, it does sound as though there has been harassment, but I don't think it would have occurred if there were a written rental agreement or a written lease.
That was denied when I asked for that.
I think this is simply getting out of hand because the two of you aren't understanding. There does need to still be contact because it is landlord-tenant. I would be able to issue an order indicating no harassing contact, but by itself, that is pretty minimal and not very well defined. It would be difficult for law enforcement to enforce no harassing contact between the two. Go ahead. You have a question.
If it really is a lot of harassment, it really is in person now. My family we are so uncomfortable by it every single day, especially having no water. It's profanities, it's yelling at us for no reason when we're doing nothing wrong. The thing about pulling up the deck is ridiculous. When she said that, I looked at her and I go, where on the deck what are you talking about? Literally, what are you talking about? And she's like, don't lie to me, fucker. You know what I'm talking about. All I ask is that we stop being harassed.
I heard and understood.
Right, but if she could just communicate to us through the email, as the judge I saw prior to this, he said email contact would be the only one, and that would be suitable, because then there wouldn't be, if she were to say things that were harsh or bad, I wouldn't care, because it's on email, but if it needs to be legal remedies or whatever it is, I'd be happy to, because I have texts, I guess, showing
I've tried to work it out. The two of you do need to be dealing with this as a landlord-tenant issue.
And I have tried to work it out many, many times and said to meet in public and to speak, cordially to each other.
Well, here is what I'm going to do. I am going to issue an order. Thank you.
May I bring up another complaint I have, sir?
What's that?
May I bring up another complaint I have with harassment, as far as harassment?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I did not put a distance provision in here. I have allowed email for landlord-tenant issues, but other than email for that purpose, you're not to contact Mr. Soto for the next year.
Serious.
I am. And that includes through third parties. I can't hear over the printer.
I'm a maintenance man for the property. I take care of those things. Obviously, we have no real managers. But I'm really confused how this can grow out this way.
The two of you, not you, but the two parties here. You need to be dealing with this as a landlord-tenant issue and addressing it in court in the proper manner. This should not even be here. I'm issuing the order because it does sound like there's been harassment. So sir, I'm not revisiting the issue. That is my decision. It appears to me there has been harassment, but you still have to have contact. So I'm allowing email for purposes of landlord-tenant. But there are ways to address everything that's going on here, whether that's you moving to evict or you moving to enforce the terms of the agreement. This is difficult when there's no written agreement. But the courts are your solution for the issues you're having, not yelling at one another. Okay, I have copies of the orders for each of you. Mr. Soto, why don't you step up first?
What was that?
Are we going to have them sign?
If you want them to, it's not super necessary.
It's all right. They don't have to.
Oh, okay.
They were both
Yeah, we
here.
usually don't. I don't.
All right.
One copy.
All right, thank you. Seriously, people, this needs to be dealt with in the proper manner, not through anti-harassment orders. So I did issue the order, and you can, of course, appeal my order if you wish.
I'm
All
just
right.
worried about the chemicals in the eyes.
Sorry?
The chemicals in my eyes that he sprayed me with several times.
And that
I never even got out of
you've
my car.
reported it, that will be dealt with. That is not something that I can address at this hearing.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Mr. Soto, you are free to go.
Thank you.
And Ms. Hatcher West, if you could come up and get a copy of the order if you would like one.
Oh, you made it, so yeah. I don't want to be wasting your time.
Pardon?
I don't want to be wasting your time printing the paper. Or even have a copy. Oh, nice.
Your Honor, she's been trying to get this done through the, like real estate side.
I don't know who they came in.
But since her stroke, she's had a little difficulty with
I
communication.
I can't hear any of this because Mr. Soto already left. So.
Well, I look forward to seeing you again. Let's almost got out here with your order device.
That wouldn't be preferable. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, especially when it's working.
Let's go to the sheriff's office right now and find out why they have arrested him. I mean, if I can do that, why not, Landlord? I don't have to pay this anymore.
I believe that concludes today's calendar, and thank you all very much.
So I don't know if you caught it there at the very end as the gentleman was walking out. He said, so let's walk over to the sheriff's department and find out why they haven't arrested him yet. Yeah. So that's going swimmingly. There's a time and a place for everything, ladies and gentlemen, and about 90% of what those people were arguing about, that was not the time nor the place for any of it. And that is one of the big lessons from tonight's presentation. There's a time and place for everything. And don't be a narcissist, pig. Those are just two easy ones, right? I should just close it there. I'm your Lone Wolf Usul. I'm your humble host for these here get-togethers. I am your curator for these here videos at the Court Gallery, and I do this every single night of the week. Come on by, same wolf time, same wolf channel. That's 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And every weekend, Saturday at noon Eastern Time. Brunch, 11 a.m. Central. God. I don't even know what to say. The Simpson case had me screaming at the walls today. I don't know how anybody else felt about that situation, but that was one of the ones where while I was watching it live, I was screaming at the walls. It was frustrating. I kind of felt the guy's pain. I think a lot of us understood. Definitely Judge Simpson did. I hope you, no, I wasn't, yeah, you're right, Kier. I wasn't bashing my head against the wall. But I will be bashing my head against the wall if I don't hurry up and say goodnight. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great one. I'm your Lone Wolf Usul. I am out. I almost forgot. We had some very generous people tonight. Kiernoth, Wixom, Sovereign Legal Encounters, Hutch, our man. Wixom, you've just been a crazy guy. Wixom is the channel member. Wixom is actually the only channel member, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to proclaim it right now. Wixom has been begging for memberships for actually almost over a year. And I'm going to proclaim that even though the channel does not have memberships, Wixom, and of course Rhonda and Mama, but Wixom primarily, Wixom because he wants it more than anybody else. Wixom, you are the first member, my friend. Thank you for your support. And thank you all. Thank you all for your support. Y'all have a great one. You know, it ain't easy being green. No, it's not. Get on out of here now. Marty, you're a member too, as of now.